In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern where I feel like I'm a broken record at this point every single day, but we are expecting huge amounts of warmth, huge amounts of humidity, and an overall surge of thunderstorms, especially in the central states, but there will be some storminess in the east at times as well. So we're going to track all of that, including the Storm Prediction Center, where there is now 2 extended range outlooks, which usually spells pretty bad severe weather. So we're going to be diving into all of this. Let's first off take a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook here from the National Weather Service. And what we mostly see here is warmth in the east. So we see obviously this huge bubble of warmth over the eastern states. So I'm not exaggerating. This is a massive, massive warm air mass that is rising up like this from the Gulf. And this is going to bring with it that heat from the Gulf, but also the humidity, as I mentioned earlier. Out west, we're not necessarily cold, but we're pretty neutral considering we're below normal to near normal in the southwest. We're above normal in the northwest. It's pretty near normal if you were to take the whole area as a whole. But there is areas of warmth, areas of cold overall. Looking at the precipitation for this time frame, the same time frame, April 28th through May 2nd, we do see a little bit drier for the west, a little bit. Also a little bit drier for the eastern seaboard, just a little bit. But again, the central states is where we see the biggest surge of precipitation here, as this Gulf moisture is going to interact with dry, cold air coming down from Canada. And that is going to basically spell some very active thunderstorms and very active severe weather. So let's go ahead and move on to the next time frame, which will be the 8 to 14 day period. And as we take a look at it, we see continued severe warmth, now including a lot of the west here, like the Northern Rockies, Pacific Northwest, Northern Plains, but also the eastern seaboard. So this is a relatively rare pattern, which is mostly coast-to-coast warmth here. Typically, we don't see coast-to-coast warmth. We see one side cold or one side warm, something like that, but we are seeing coast-to-coast warmth here for the April 30th through May 6th time frame. Looking at the precipitation during this same exact time frame, we continue to see a similar pattern, a little bit drier for the west and even now the north central states, but the southern plains through the deep south and then up the eastern states seems to be where a lot of our precipitation is going to be during this April 30th through May 6th time frame. And again, it's the same thing. You get the Gulf moisture kind of rising up through a lot of these areas. And we have dry, cold air trying to interact with these different areas. And this could spell severe weather throughout these different regions for sure. That's going to be something to watch for. Again, we will see it on the model guidance as well. Now let's take a look at how the past 20 days have gone overall. So this is a majority of your April timeframe. And we see quite a bit of warmth over the west. Quite a bit of warmth over the southeast. But mostly the theme here is warmth in the south, cold in the north, and this is why we have, especially early on in April, seen quite a bit of severe weather in the kind of battle zone between those two air masses here, just like this. So let's go ahead and move on and take a look at the European model and see what that one has to say. And as we take a look at it, I want to move us towards this afternoon. That humidity, that high temperatures, we talked about it a lot yesterday, so I'm going to try to scale it back today because you guys kind of get the point. But we're getting that humidity and warmth moving in. We don't really have any true low pressure systems in the area, but this just allows for thunderstorms to pop up in a lot of different areas. And we're going to see that for at least half the days on this model run. So that is going to be a frequent thing. I will mention it, but I'm not going to dive too much into the dynamics because it is just humid, warm, and that sparks the right conditions for thunderstorm development. As we move towards Thursday, again, a lot of the same occurring here around the nation, especially the central states, but some of the eastern states, which is going to be why the central states see the most precipitation and the east sees a little bit less. There is even some snowfall across the Rockies from a lot of this activity, so there's enough cold air in the higher elevations there for snowfall. Let's take a look at Friday on the 25th, and what we end up seeing is a little bit more of an organized area of thunderstorms. We have some low pressure up here. It's very weak, but we do, and we end up seeing a little weak cold front here. So that is going to spell a little bit of an increase in the potential for severe weather. Also, just overall thunderstorms in these areas. I don't think the severe weather threat is too elevated for this day, but there will probably be, to some extent, a threat. I'm going to take us straight towards Saturday, because on Saturday, we do see this low kind of get its act together up here in the northeast, especially New England. A cold front is dragging. It's a marginal cold front. It is average, I'd say, at this point. It does intensify over time. And we will probably be watching for a pocket of thunderstorms in this area, maybe even some severe weather. We have some standalone thunderstorms down here in the south central states where I'm sure a thunderstorm chance will be present. Also, maybe severe weather, as I mentioned. Interestingly enough, out west, we do get kind of like a Sierra Nevada snow system where there's rainfall in the lower elevations, and then those Sierra Nevada mountains are seeing a heavy snowfall event Saturday on April 26th here, according to this model. And I want to move us forward towards Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays. We're going to see our actual severe weather coming up soon after this point. So let's go ahead and move on and take a look at that. Now, as we just move on towards Sunday here on the 27th, we do see a low coming together over Colorado. And if you guys watch my videos frequently, you would know that throughout a lot of early April, portions of mid to late March as well, we did see a lot of lows originating over the Colorado area. And this is a pretty classic area for these severe weather events to initiate. We end up seeing cold air diving in to the west behind this low. We also see this warm humid air rising up to the east of it. So that begins to get that circulation going, where you can imagine we have something like this going on. And the wheels turning here, we end up seeing quite a bit of thunderstorm development already by Sunday afternoon on the 27th. But Monday is going to be a big time to watch for. This low is really intensifying up there near the Dakotas and Minnesota there. 992 between South Dakota and Minnesota. We see plenty of rainfall and snowfall up here to the north, but typically this area nearby the low has a little bit less thunderstorm activity and more showery. It's mostly this area underneath where we would be watching for thunderstorm development. It's as we head overnight that things get really interesting. During the night, we have this strong low up here, and clearly some more organized areas of thunderstorms are developing for the night between Monday and Tuesday. 28th, 29th is definitely going to be a time frame to watch for. And then here's Tuesday afternoon. I'll move us towards the evening because a lot of these are sparking up as we're reaching kind of like the late afternoon into the evening. 997 here over northern Wisconsin. Clearly a line of thunderstorms from Texas northward all the way to Wisconsin and everywhere in between. We have some pretty serious potential for severe weather during this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. As we move towards Wednesday here on the 30th, we see at the 997 now somewhere up north, just to the north of New York State, just over the Canadian border. And we still have this dragging cold front look, still active thunderstorms in there, and probably active severe weather as well. Like I mentioned earlier, we will look at the Storm Prediction Center outlooks at the end of this video, where we do have extended outlooks for this event. We move past this one. Thursday, May 1st, it slows down a bit. We see some thunderstorms in the southeast, and Friday, May 2nd as well. Saturday on May 3rd, we do see a weaker low up here in eastern Canada. This does bring a cold front with it, and this could spell a thunderstorm threat for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Saturday, May 3rd there, we'll be watching. This is going beyond 10 days, so I've been making sure to mention it every time. Right as we cross that 10-day mark is right around when I want you guys to be seriously taking everything with a grain of salt, because that's where we start to see big changes day over day. So we can get an idea of the pattern, but this isn't concrete by any means. Sunday on the 4th, we do get this little cool spell over the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, and this could be one of our last threats for high elevation snowfall. We see the Adirondack Mountains seeing snowfall there, a low pressure center between New Hampshire, Maine, and Canada, somewhere right in that area. And definitely take it with a grain of salt, because this is going to take some serious cold moving down, as we do see here, but that's the type of detail that could change pretty significantly between now and then. By Monday on the 5th, I mean, we're relatively quiet here. There is some thunderstorm activity down here for Texas, Oklahoma, maybe even in parts of New Mexico and Arizona. And then we have some showery activity as we move towards the upper Midwest and northern plains. Tuesday on the 6th, that activity shifts eastward for the north and actually westward for the south. So we see a lot of the Great Lakes and surrounding areas seeing showers, thunderstorms perhaps for Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, that kind of area there by Tuesday the 6th. And by Wednesday the 7th here, we're starting to see more flare-ups of thunderstorms here in the central states, but really nothing huge happens at the end of this model run. So that is interesting. And I could see something popping up here in the near future. Let's go ahead and move on and take a look at the precipitation. Here we are taking a look at the total precipitation, and we can see we've seen a decrease in amounts actually for this kind of corridor here for the Ohio Valley, deep south, southeast, mid-Atlantic area. So that area is maybe looking below average as far as precipitation here over the next 2 weeks, but the central states here are highly above average, and so is areas of Canada here into the northeast. So let's look at those anomalies real quickly. And again, you kind of get this below average pocket here for this corner, but a lot of the central states are above average, and that does extend into the northeast as well there. That's kind of the area that we're watching for this above average activity, and it's coming as we see storms moving across the north. And a lot of the time in here, we do see a couple move through here, but in both instances, we have cold fronts tracking along the way that are dipping a lot of activity into this area. Now, let's take a look at the Storm Prediction Center outlooks here. And as you can see, this is for the day 1 today on Wednesday the 23rd. The lighter green areas where we have a lot of areas in there, that is going to be your level 1, or no, better yet, it's going to be your general thunderstorm risk. That is where we expect general thunderstorms, but we do not expect severe weather. Anything is possible though, so please heed every watch, warning, and advisory. Still, the 2 darker green areas is going to be your level 1 marginal risk areas where we do expect isolated severe weather to occur. That is generally what we expect in there. And then the yellow areas there, like parts of New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, a little bit of Colorado, Kansas, and a little bit of Nebraska. That is going to be your level 2 slight risk, where things get a little bit more scattered about. Stronger thunderstorms can be expected in this area. Now, for day 2 tomorrow, we have the general thunderstorm risk areas in the lighter greens, and then we have a marginal risk for the lower plains, but we have slowed down a little bit unless we get an upgrade to a slight risk in here by tomorrow, which is certainly possible. Day 3 here, a lot of the same general thunderstorm risk and marginal risk there for Texas and Oklahoma. That's for Friday the 25th. But as we move towards the extended range, we look at day 6. This is Monday the 28th. Again, that same event we were just watching on the models. We do see for a lot of the upper Midwest down through some of the plains, we do have a 15% chance, 15% chance area of severe weather in there for Monday the 28th, and that does translate to a slight risk, but they only have 2 categories for the extended range, and that is 15% and 30%. So that's slight and enhanced risk, approximately. But oftentimes we only get this 15% chance area, and we will end up seeing something more like enhanced or moderate or, God forbid, a high risk sometimes. So keep in mind this could be a very, very bad severe weather day, and a lot of slight risks are very bad, but we could get an even higher risk level than that is what I'm saying. Day 7, the day after, Tuesday the 29th, this moves down through other parts of the plains, Midwest, and now even the Great Lakes and a little bit of the Ohio Valley there. Same thing. We have that 15% chance area that does translate to a slight risk, but it could be even worse than that, keep in mind. With all that being said, that is it for this video. Be sure to subscribe. We upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.